All right, let's just jump right in. We are going to tackle one of the most challenging topics in the entire Bible, this idea of God as a warrior. We'll be drawing heavily from the work of Dr. Tremper Longman to really unpack how this powerful and, let's be honest, sometimes really troubling theme develops all the way from the Old Testament to the New. I mean, it's a question pretty much everyone has asked at some point, right? How in the world do you reconcile the God who commands armies in Joshua with the Jesus who tells people to turn the other cheek? This apparent clash between a God of love and a God of war is really at the heart of everything, and it's exactly where we need to start. So, how do people even begin to get their heads around this tension? Well, in the modern debate, it really comes down to this one big question. Are we looking at two completely different gods? Or is it one coherent story that just develops over time? Okay, this slide lays out the two main camps perfectly. On one hand, you have the disconnect view. This position basically argues that the warrior god of the Old Testament is, well, a primitive idea that we're supposed to leave behind. It's like we graduate from that to get to the real God in Jesus. But the coherence view, which is what Dr. Longman argues for, says, not so fast. It says, no, it's all one single story. God is perfectly consistent. The thing that changes isn't God, it's the nature of the battle itself. And this quote right here just nails Dr. Longman's biggest critique of that first approach. He points out that some scholars treat these violent passages less like a story to be understood in its context and more like a problem that needs to be solved or even explained away. And you can see how that sets you on a totally different path from the very beginning. So, okay, if it is one coherent story, how does it all develop? Well, Longman's whole argument hinges on this. The Bible traces a really clear shift, a move from physical battles in the Old Testament to a spiritual battlefield that defines what it means to be a believer today. And boom, this verse from Ephesians is the absolute game changer. The Apostle Paul comes right out and redefines the enemy. He says, hey, the real fight, it isn't with other people. It's not a flesh and blood problem. The true battle is against these unseen spiritual forces of evil. And just like that, the whole idea of what it means to be a warrior gets completely reframed for the New Testament world. Okay, so what does this spiritual battle actually look like, practically speaking? Longman breaks it down into three fronts. First, there's the external fight against injustice out there in the world. Second, there's an evangelistic front where sharing the gospel is seen as actively pushing back against evil's influence. And finally, there's that deeply personal internal battle we all face, the fight against our own sin, which, by the way, the Bible often talks about using the language of warfare. So, if our battle today is spiritual, we're still left with that giant question, aren't we? What do we do with all the physical violence in the Old Testament? Well, now that we have this framework, this idea of one developing story, we can look at those tough passages from a totally new angle. And Dr. Longman says we should start by rethinking the whole concept of God's wrath. And this brings us to a really radical idea, the first part of his framework. What if God's wrath isn't the opposite of his love, but is actually a part of his love? The idea here is that a God who is truly loving must also be a God of justice and judgment against evil. Now, to really grasp this, Dr. Longman brings in the incredibly powerful words of a theologian named Miroslav Volf. Volf actually lived through the horrors of the ethnic wars in the former Yugoslavia, and that experience completely changed his perspective on the anger of God. And here's his incredible conclusion. Volf says that after seeing that kind of brutality up close, he realized he could never believe in a God who wasn't wrathful about it. A passive, gentle God in the face of genocide, it just felt totally inadequate, totally wrong. So the point is this: God's wrath isn't some petty anger. It's the righteous fury of a loving creator who sees his creation being destroyed and dehumanized. It's an anger that flows directly from love. The second piece of this puzzle is to see the Old Testament wars as more than just ancient history. The idea is to view them as a kind of preview, a temporary glimpse of God's final, ultimate judgment on all evil. There's a theological term for this. It's called intrusion ethics. And the concept is that for a brief moment in time, God allowed the ethics of the end times, that moment when all evil is finally dealt with for good, to intrude into human history. So events like the conquest of Canaan, in this view, become this really stark and sobering preview of what final justice actually looks like. It's a warning.
So, as we start to bring this all together, it is absolutely crucial to remember that this warrior idea, as important as it is still just one piece of a much, much bigger puzzle.
You know, the Bible uses this whole rich collection of metaphors to help us understand God. He's a father, a king, a husband, a judge, a shepherd, and yes, a warrior. Not a single one of those images can capture the whole truth on its own. Each one shows us a different facet of who God is. The warrior part highlights his absolute commitment to defeating evil, but you have to balance that with his role as a loving father and a merciful shepherd to get anywhere close to the full picture.
So, let's end with this question. If we reframe our thinking, if we see God not just as a warrior, but as a warrior for justice, how does that change things for us? It really challenges us to see love not as some passive feeling, but as an active force that has to confront evil. And it forces us to take evil seriously, not as some minor flaw in the system, but as something so destructive that a truly loving God has no choice but to wage war against it. And what that means for us, well, that's something we're thinking about.